Welcome to this video. In this little video, we introduce you to new developments which are on the agenda of Cargo IQ. That means planning logic, service parameters, and care mapping. In the very near future, respectively already now, we are working on the planning logic within Cargo IQ. We address service parameters and we look into care mapping. In the current situation, the planning logic stipulates that we are planning all milestones around the fixed anchor of the departure and arrival time of the flight as per flight schedule. Based on the departure, we are planning the latest acceptance time, which is the time by when the forwarder has to hand over the shipment at export site to the airline. We are also scheduling the RCS, the ready for carriage check, based on the planned departure time. This entire export process is also mirrored on the import side, where all the milestones such as RCF, NFD, AWR, AWD are based on the scheduled arrival time. The setback is that this strict route map planning that it does not always reflect the actual operation on the ground. Therefore, we are planning to improve the route map, planning to reflect real-life scenarios as much as possible. This starts with differentiating between latest acceptance time and FOH. LAT is the line in the sand, the latest time at which the FOH should take place. FOH is an event in itself that signals when the shipment is tendered by the forwarder at origin to the airline. Once that differentiation is clear, in the future, RCS could be planned using FOH as an anchor, which would be better alignment to what reflect the operation in a time-defined service operation. Next, we would like to implement the freight out of warehouse control planning logic. FOW is the event where the warehouse handler tenders the shipment to the ramp handler at origin or in the transit airport. FOW could be planned in the future using the departure of the aircraft as an anchor, because in this case that could make sense operationally. There should be some slack time between RCS and FOW for warehouse activities, which would also need to be considered in the planning of the overall process. The new planning logic closely links to the service parameters project. Traditionally, Cargo IQ planning only caters for flight-specific solutions. However, we don't want to restrict our members to plan only for one specific service. We want to cater for differentiations. And we want to plan, control, and evaluate as close as possible to the true cargo products that our members offer, allowing, for instance, for time-defined services. In a traditional flight-specific product, LAT is driven by the scheduled departure of the booked flight and the availability as a destination by the arrival of the booked flight. In the time-defined world, this may change. The booked flight may still be there as a guideline, and it may be the anchor for the LAT. However, the latest availability at destination may be a window of operation from the latest acceptance to the latest availability. Because the flight is no longer specific, the carrier may use other flight options than that initially booked. Think about an environment where the airline is operating 4 or more flights to the same destination every day. The service commitments, such as latest acceptance and latest availability, could be planned independent of the flight as long as the service commitment, the TOA, is being observed. But there still may be operational milestones that would be planned around the flight. We have started developing standards for time-defined products under this project. However, there are other service parameters as well that we may look at in the future, and for which we may want to create appropriate standards to plan, measure, and evaluate. These parameters could then be combined by carriers to define any of their products. For example, a carrier may offer any express product with a first flight out parameter. A sure to fly product could be flight specific. Or they could combine various parameters to offer a precious flora product. Soon our members will be able to plan, control, and evaluate their services using time-defined parameters, and it is important for us at Cargo IQ to provide our members with the appropriate tools to differentiate their products and measure and evaluate them as such. Let us look at our care mapping project. Traditionally, the industry concentrated on shipment movement in a top-down custody planning. In the future, we are addressing now the conditions under which the planned movement of the shipment takes place, bottom-up planning and control. By doing so, better care can be given to the shipment and the entire quality control process. This is complementary to any existing quality program such as GDP. And this makes the entire process for moving a shipment from origin to destination far more transparent. What are now the takeaways from this little session? We explained why we introduce new planning logic. We looked at the importance of service parameters to Cargo IQ and the industry. And a little glimpse into the future, we explained the concept of care mapping. And with this, we can close this little session, and I thank you for your attention and interest. Bye-bye.